Good morning. As promised, today is the day for the live about highly sensitivity. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm also happy it's my first time going live and about it, most of all. And let's say that I'm doing my coming out. So that's great. I know that a lot of people have an idea of what is highly sensitivity, but most of all in the collective mind, the first idea is that highly sensitivity is a kind of weakness. And that's why also today I really wanted to be here and talk with you about it. And hello, we're starting. I'm having my coffee. So, however, highly sensitivity in the collective mind, it's seen as a weakness, and is really important today to start to talk more and more about it. So let me tell you just much more about me as well. So I'm the one behind the concept Diaphora Evasio. I'm the one that believes in authenticity, in multipotentiality. As well, I believe in human travel. I really often talk about human travel during my podcast. Human travel for me, so it's not something you're going to find in a dictionary, is like when we share all together, even today, when we share an experience we're having, when I'm listening to someone is listening to me, and about my life and my experience and my tips and my advice. For me, this is a human travel. This is traveling. So I work as well in travel. I work in tourism, but I don't see it as, it's not to be fashionable, or it's not to say that I did 48 countries. I'm saying like that. So it's not about that. It's like really discovering different cultures, and we all have cultural codes, and by that we also have genetic, we will say, memory. And so highly sensitivity also have a genetic part. That's why I think in a way I have been attracted by discovering cultural codes and different countries and way of living. So now I'm in Canada. It's the 7th country I'm living in. So let's go. I write everything generally because, you know, as a highly sensitive person, we have a lot of things in our mind and we think a lot about so many things. We interact so easily with everything, like everything around us would stimulate our creativity, would stimulate our mind, our questioning. So let's go. So first of all, it's really important to understand the words, and I would like to go through sensitivity. What is the word and the meaning sensitivity in the dictionary first? So I check in the Cambridge dictionary, and sensitivity is someone that is able to feel the other needs. So it means someone that will be empathic, will have the ability to be more empathic than others. Okay, so this is what the Cambridge dictionary is saying. On the other hand, you have another meaning that will be someone sensitive is someone that can be upset really quickly. So this is really interesting because this is the part where we say that it is said by studies that 63% of the worldwide population believes that sensitivity is a kind of weakness. So I prefer to say like weakness because I don't really believe in weakness. I believe that everything can be improved, but we just need the tools for that. Okay, so this is also the point of this live today about highly sensitivity. It's not just to talk about it, but it is as well to give you some tools, and also if you have any question because you feel that you're highly sensitive, for those that will connect, then please do ask to join it and we can talk about it. You're not forced to be seen with the camera. You can just block it and we can hear your voice. This is also a choice that I want you to feel if you're coming on live, sorry. So let's come back to this meaning for 63% of the population. Because if we know that a majority believes that sensitivity is a weakness. So let's take some examples. How many times it happened to you to feel something and then you have someone around you that will say to you, oh, don't be so sensitive, or you're too sensitive, okay? So from that moment, a word that's wonderful, a gift that we have, sensitivity, is seen as something negative. And from that moment, it's quite hard for someone to say, I am sensitive, or I'm highly sensitive. You imagine, highly is even more for in the mind, in the collective mind. So people will try to dissociate themselves to that, because for them it's like the word vulnerability is a wonderful word, and unfortunately, many people use it as a weakness as well. So sensitivity is the same, okay? So being sensitive means senses, okay? If you hear it, it's talking about senses. It means that each of us have their senses, so we're sensitive and we use it, okay? So let's continue with that. Highlysensitivity means, and this is the meaning, there is not other meaning. Highlysensitivity means that you use your senses. So we all do it, okay? We all use the smell, we all use our hearing, we all use our taste, we all use our vision, and we all use the touch, okay? So sensitivity being using your senses, highly sensitive means that we use our senses more than others, or highly. So people would think like more than others. So what means this more? Let's go deeper. Highlysensitivity, there is no like a definition about being highly sensitive. There are common traits. I'm into an association or a non-profit organization about highly sensitive people in France. Yes, this is also my intonation. Some of you are thinking like, oh, this is the French intonation we hear. Yeah, is that. I speak as well French. So however, I'm in this non-profit organization, the only one of France for highly sensitive people. We have now 7,000 members, which is quite a lot. We're also working with some psychotherapists about highly sensitivity, like Saverio Tomasella, one of the French psychotherapists working over that with others, of course. But this is the one that represents us most in France. And so we have all common traits. Talking all together, we started to understand that each of us can be different about their highly sensitivity, but there is common traits. So let's see what are these common traits. You have sensoriality. So sensoriality is using your senses, but sensoriality is generally for a highly sensitive person. So let's say a HSP, okay, we're going to use the acronym HSP. So for HSP, sensoriality will be accompanied by synaesthesia. So let's talk about what is synaesthesia. Synaesthesia is using your senses in the same time. Like when I'm talking to you right now, I'm also visualizing what I'm saying to you. Like I have image of what I'm saying to you. So I think it can happen to some of you. So I have the image of what I'm saying. And in the same time, I will look around. I will use also my vision and look around. I'm trying to explain it in the best way. Or let's say differently. You're walking in the street and you're talking with one of your friends, and then you realize that you're smelling what's happening around and you're looking to what's happening around. I like to call that my panoramic vision. Like I'm really looking to everything. Like I see my hands, I see people, I see their movement. I can even talk with someone and the person's gonna be here and I'm gonna be looking at that person without looking at her, because I'm like using a lot my vision. And also you will use your senses, because maybe sometimes when you're talking about something with that person, it's gonna bring you to a memory and then you're gonna feel other senses. So it's quite difficult to explain synesthesia because a lot of us are using their senses in the same time, but we do it automatically. And so we don't realize that we're using many senses in the same time. So highly sensitive people, so HSP, have this ability to use many senses in the same time, which means that from the moment you're using many senses in the same time, okay, you're gonna feel many things in the same time. It means that when you're going somewhere and there is a lot of energy, or there is, I don't know, good energy, positive, negative, you're gonna be sensitive to that. So it means as well that positive energy will like stimulate you as a highly sensitive person, but negative energy will drain you. So from the moment you know that, it means that you're going to be really careful to the environment you're going into. But also it means that you're going to understand why in your workplace, sometimes there is someone that will be upset and you're coming there like really happy, hi everybody, and you're starting to work, and then you start to feel like drained, like sad, like you start to feel different emotions, and you're just like, I don't know from where it's coming. So let me tell you here, it's coming from your environment, because as a HSP, we're so sensitive to our environment. So this is the first trait we're having. The second trait will be our emotional intelligence. You remember when I told you that HSP is always stimulated and creating new things? I just told you that at the beginning. So this is also your emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence means that you use your emotions to create. And so as your emotions are connected to your senses, so as a HSP, you use your senses to connect to your emotions, and your emotions makes you create things. So it can be writing, paintings, it can be a business, it can be, I don't know, holidays. It comes to your mind like that. Like you're somewhere and then you will be stimulated by the different things, and you will have a lot of creativity. And then you're going to create something. So some people start even sometimes to feel crazy about that. Because if everything is every time stimulating you, you know, it means that at one point your brain, because you don't have a brain like that, you're going to be like really tired as well. So emotional intelligence is great, but be careful how you use it. But we're going to talk about it just after, okay? My apologies, but I have to drink my coffee as well. It's 8 in the morning here. So 8 and some minutes now, 11. So this is for the second trait. The third trait will be, it could be like 4 traits, but I prefer to put this third trait together and talk to you about detail and authentic orientated. So let's go there. Did it happen to you since you're a child to feel that you need to be yourself? Like you need to be yourself. When people say to you, don't do that, don't do it like that, don't say that, don't think that, you feel inside of your, I would say, guts, and also with your mind and your body, you feel that saying, just when someone is saying to you, even when you're an adult, okay, not just when you're a child, but when you're a child, maybe you remember more, you feel like someone is saying to you, don't be who you are. And as a HSP, we need to know and to be who we are. So we need authenticity. We're seeking in everything about authenticity, in our work, our friendship, our relationship, our family relationship. We're looking for authenticity in everything. And we need to say what we think, what we feel, what we see. We always need to express ourselves. So I like to talk about extrovert thoughts. Like extrovert thoughts is like I imagine you have been with someone that's talking with you, and then he's saying, oh, I saw that, oh, a bird or a butterfly. And then you're just like, okay, can you just reconnect here? But the person is connected. Being able to see all these details, so this makes part also of HSP, and HSP is authentic and detail orientated. So every detail is so important. Did it happen to you to go into a party, for example, for the first time in the house of a friend, you're hosted there, and then you open the door. From the moment you open the door, you know exactly where is this person? Where is the kitchen? Where is the glass? Where is this? And then you're gonna act like you knew this house and like you always have come here and have been invited here, or quite like it's your house. And because you're a detail-oriented person, because you pay attention to all little details, like me, sometimes it happened that I observe so much the person that live with me. Even when I'm with my boyfriend, it's exactly the same. I'm like observing everything from him, and I think that it can be tiring, but this is my way of being, and I don't want to change myself because, as I told you, I'm an HSP as well, and I need to be authentic. Okay, so we have another important trait, common trait that HSP are sharing together is intuition. We come to something quite interesting here. Intuition. What's happening with intuition? So let's say, what is intuition? So for me, intuition will be really easy because I travel into life with intuition. Since I'm a child, since I remember my thoughts, so I always say it because I remember my first thoughts when I was 5 is I was seeing this kind of TV reality, and it was about fake court cases, and you had some lawyers and you had the judges and of course the guilty or the innocent. And however, I was 5, my sister was 3, we were in front of the TV in Romania, and I heard like avocat. So avocat is lawyer in Romanian. And when I heard that, I said to my sister, what means avocat? And my sister said to me, lawyer means someone that wants to defend others. And this is the first time I remember my thoughts, because I connected there, and I was like really remembering what I thought. I was like, I want to defend people. I want to save people. So I was 5 and I felt that kind of mission, you know? And so from there, I quite always use my intuition. And what is the intuition? You know, this little voice talking to you, this little voice saying to you, don't do that, or pay attention to that, or, oh, go for that, or, oh, you see this person there? He looks nice. Go to talk with this person. Or, no, don't go at that time because if you go there, maybe something happen. Or, yeah, the truth is that you're not hurt about that. You're not hurt about that. You're hurt about that. You know, this little voice that comes like a flash into your mind in 3 seconds, and you're just like thinking, I'm paranoid. Like your thinking is coming from your mind. So let me tell you something, and maybe you're gonna feel great after that. It doesn't come from nowhere. This is your intuition. And we all are intuitive people. Many of us have been separated of their intuition because when they heard that voice, they believed it was in their mind. And so they talk about it with someone that was pragmatic and said to them, yeah, it is in your mind. Yeah, it's you that feels that because you're too sensitive. I'm now joking and kidding a little bit and putting other words together, but I want this to make an echoing in you. I want you to remember all these times, and every time you're gonna be somewhere with other people, you're gonna remember this little voice, this too sensitive that people are using, and then maybe you're gonna start to make connection and think like, am I an HSP? Okay, so let's go there. Do you know how many people we are being HSP in the world? I'm sure that you don't. So we are 31% of HSP. Let me be a little bit more clear about that. 31% of the worldwide population have declared themselves as HSP, which means that there are 69% of the worldwide population that maybe or doesn't know about HSP or doesn't even heard about the word HSP. or know it but doesn't make any coming out about it because they're afraid of what people think about them or what the recruiter, manager, team will think about them, okay? So 69% of the worldwide population doesn't know their HSP, or maybe will never be connected to that in this life. So I will not talk about this topic. This is again another topic about this life or not, but I really want to get focused in that. So how is possible that only 31% knows that they're HSP? Other question come to your mind. Does it mean that other people are HSP or we are all HSP? Okay, so today some studies from Israel as well from United States, coming from the Boston Trauma Center, from France as well, with the non-profit organization of HSP. Some studies have proved, and also a Montessori approach, that all of us are HSP from the moment we're born. And from the age of 5, what's happening is that at 5, we all enter into conventional institution. Quite all. Like, I'm sure some of you have been in alternative educational system, like Montessori, anthropologist schools. I know that some of you have this access. I also have been in another kind of school. But I'm saying that generally, people we enter in conventional institution. And in this conventional institution, what's going to happen? So, before the age of 5, we all use our divergent thinking, which is how, why, what, when, and where. So we ask ourselves these questions, okay? And we try to understand our environment through that question. So it doesn't mean that when you're a child, you're just like, what's happening? It's like you're seeing and you're acting like what's happening. And then you take an information and you start to learn, okay? So we all use the divergent thinking. And then you arrive at the age of 5 where you're put in a conventional institution. And then you have teachers that will learn to you to have more a convergent thinking, meaning that everything you were feeling and everything you were traveling with into this world as a child till 5, they're gonna say to you, now you forget about it, you don't feel anymore that, you're gonna feel what we're teaching you. I'm not here to criticize system, even if I have my opinion about it, but unfortunately, this is what is often happening. So I have some friends that are also teachers, and unfortunately, they know that this is what's happening. We're gonna ask you to enter into the mess. We're gonna ask you to be part of a majority and to don't be aware of that, or be the black sheep, we say, le mouton noir in French. So to don't be the black sheep. So we're gonna ask you, because you even see the word we're using, like the black sheep, like all of them are white and you're black, so you're just like a part. And I don't really like this expression, but it talks to everybody. However, to be the yellow sheep or the red sheep or whatever, the pink if you want, or the rainbow sheep if you prefer. I like the rainbow sheep. Let's talk about the rainbow sheep. So to don't be the rainbow sheep. So they're gonna ask you to think like the majority. So from that moment, when you're gonna ask questions that are a little bit atypical or apart, they're gonna tell you, we don't have time for that, you can come after, or that's not important. How many times it happened to you to ask a question and the person is saying because, or is not important, and then you stay frustrated as a child. So at one point, instead of asking question, or you stay an HSP, because it makes part of you and you don't reject that because it's your authenticity, and then you isolate yourself from the group because you feel that every time you ask questions or you interact, people don't really understand why you ask them, and they make you feel you're wrong about that, okay? So you're gonna or start to isolate, or you're gonna say like, I don't want to be a part of a group, so I'm gonna start to act like them. And then you start to like erase this HSP natural behavior that you're having. You erase it to make part of something. Because if you're an HSP, you don't make part of something, you know? But yeah, Know now that you make part of something. And this is what the HSP nonprofit organization I'm part of and me are advocating. Be yourself. Okay, so genetically, we will talk also about this part. I know some of you are more scientific minds, and so it's going to be interesting for you to know that. So HSP have been proven to use much more their mirror neurons. So what are the mirror neurons? Like, for example, if I had someone in front of me, the way it's going to interact with me will have, my mirror neurons will start it will be activated, and then I'm going to like absorb what the person is like sharing with me. So the mirror neurons are the neurons that help you or to make an action, or to observe the action and the behavior of others, and in a way, you will inspire yourself about it. Okay, so each of us have these mirror neurons. We all use it, all of us. So even if we're unique, we all use our mirror neurons. My apologies. So about these mirror neurons, know that HSP use them even more. We're like super connected to that. Why? Because the mirror neurons are also studied to prove how the empathy works and the imitation. So children use so much the mirror neurons when they interact with us. Even when we walk in the street and there is a child looking at us, they use their mirror neurons to understand their environment and connect with it. So as a child before 5 is an HSP, it looks natural. As an adult, as a HSP, as making part of this 31% of the worldwide population, we use the mirror neurons to have empathy, okay? To empathize, yes, I think we say that way in English. So to empathize with the people around us. So this is really important for HSP, and also this is a neuron that we use a lot, because we use we use our senses that help us as well connect to our emotions. Our emotion creates this creativity we're having in the EI, not the employment insurance. I'm making a joke here for Canadians. No, we use our emotional intelligence, so EI. And then you remember, because we use all that, we stimulate many senses in the same time. And so our mirror neurons will be much more stimulated than others. Okay, so this was the scientific part that is quite interesting, and so that's why comes here another part. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to tell you if you're an HSP or you are not. There is a test that I can send to you. So after seeing this video, for those that would like, please contact me by message and I can send you this test. You have 40 questions. If you have more than 20 answers saying yes, it means that you have a tendency to be a highly sensitive person. We're working on other tests, but it would take a time, of course, like everything. I'm sure that we will have more and more tests about it, but I have a test about it, so you can make it with me. And I spread it in a free way, because this is also the goal of Diaphora Evasio, is to spread as maximum information as I can in a free way, okay? So the last part is about the tools. Which tools can you use for your highly sensitivity? The first tool, check what is your environment. Check what are the people around you. Do they accept you as you are? Not asking you to don't think, don't do, don't be too much. So check who is around you, because if your environment is asking you to be someone else and you're an HSP and you need this authenticity, you're seeking for it, like even if you have to die for it, like if it's like in your guts and you need to be authentic, just forget about it. You cannot be surrounded by people that will tell you to don't be who you are. Whatever if they say to you, don't be that. It depends if they're giving to you an advice. But if someone is saying to you, don't be this person you are, then this person doesn't have to be in your surrounding. I'm sorry for them, but sometimes it doesn't mean that we have to go through conflicts. Sometimes it just means that some people, they don't correspond to each other. And it doesn't make that person is a bad person or a good person, or a bad person or you're a good person. It just makes that sometimes we have a way of being that doesn't correspond to each other, and we don't have to force ourselves. And I'm in an Anglo-Saxon country, and it's the second country I'm into. I was in Ireland as well. I work with Anglo-Saxon. I like to talk about Anglo-Saxon because it's a culture. Whatever you want to think is a culture. And Anglo-Saxon way is a lot about, I feel something, but I don't have to say it because I have to stay positive. And really often you're into some environment and relationship that doesn't correspond to you. So you have the right to say no. You have the right to say, I'm sorry, we don't correspond to each other. And it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Like me and my brother, we don't correspond to each other. I love him more than anything in my life, but we don't correspond to each other. So unfortunately, I have to take a distance with him, and we have to talk about few things, you know. But I mean, you have to accept that sometimes some people don't make part of what you need in your life. So this is a first tool that looks like really easy. I know it's not, okay? Since 32 years, I have worked a lot on my relationship with my brother. I'm kidding when I'm saying 32, but at least 30 years. And after 30 years, I realized that whatever I do, the truth is that I have to accept that we love each other and we don't correspond. So I'm just saying here that it can take time. But, you know, from the moment you start to be yourself and authentic, I swear to you, I swear that you will never want to come back to what you were, because you're doing so much work there to be yourself. So how is possible you're going to say, and you feel so well when you're authentic, you feel so happy. I feel so happy with myself. And it's not to say like, I'm happy just to make it like super on the live. It's like, I'm happy, but I'm struggling. Sometimes I'm crying. Sometimes I'm not happy about things. Sometimes I'm arguing. Sometimes I have emotions, but I'm happy. Generally, I'm happy. 80% of the time, I'm happy, because even this struggle, even these challenges, they bring me to who I am today. And they bring me to be alive and to feel things. And I'm so happy that I'm who I am, and I don't want to be someone else. And I think you should feel exactly the same, because when I look to each of you in the street or when I'm in my work, human being is so beautiful. This is also something about HSP. We have so much love to give. And I think like I'm an introvert, so I don't show it. Like here I'm on the live, so it's easier for me because I don't have anybody, but I'm not touchy. I don't show it that way. I don't say words every time like, oh, I'm so happy. And no, it's not my way of being, because don't forget, I'm also from the East. And some people are like, from the East? Yeah. We will talk about it another time. However, another tool will be communication. Communication is saying to others how you function. It doesn't mean you function in the right way. It doesn't mean it's the best way. It just means you function that way. So me, when I start a new relationship, I always say to them like, okay, so you have to know that about me. It doesn't mean that you have to change yourself, or it doesn't mean that how I act or function is the best way, but I give you this information for us to avoid moments of conflict, of misunderstanding. So explain how you work. Me, I say it every time I have a new relationship. So I'm not talking about boyfriend, because I have my husband and is enough for me. But I'm just talking about relationship, like friendship, like whatever relationship we talk, human relationship. I'm just like, I tell them, by the way, I use Highlysensitivity as a prism because I connect to everything, and environments are important to me. For example, I say to my friends, my home is like my heaven. So because it's my heaven, my home, I want good energies, and I will never invite people that have bad energies. And I even say to my friends, if today you're not okay, like I need a support, I need my friend, but not okay like I want to destroy everybody, I hate human being, like don't come to my house at that moment, because you're gonna bring so bad energy and it's gonna drain me. So it's a little bit like a kind of discriminating, you know, to be so, to put so much, to create this frame, but this frame helps you to be happy. So at one point you have to create a frame that corresponds you, not the one you had from narrow messages, but the one that you decide to create. Your life, your environment, the people that will be around you, because you're worthy, because who you are is important, you know. So you have to protect this beautiful person you are, okay? You have to treasure it. So communicate about how you function and things you like, you don't like, or this kind of things. Communicate about it, because nobody is in your mind. Nobody can know what you feel. Sometimes we feel something and we presume that it's the other that have to guess what is happening. That's wrong. That's completely wrong. No. We're lucky to talk. Animals as well. They have sounds. They communicate between each other with ultrasound, sounds, whatever. We have words, so we use them to communicate to others how we function. Don't ask to the others to understand you. Of course, if you said it and the person is continuing to do it in the other way, it means he didn't hear you, and that's another story. But communicate. There is another tool that I use a lot, is writing and recording. So let's talk about it. Write about what you feel. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed, or sometimes you feel so happy. Sometimes you have so much things you have to put out of your mind. So I recognize myself here. Then write. Look, I write. I have other things. I write. I have a lot of paper, like you're gonna laugh. I have another book. I have another agenda. I write. Yeah, I look like Einstein. I write. I write everything I feel, because the best friend you're having, the only person that knows you better than anyone is yourself. Is you. You're the only one that knows yourself so much. However, write, and also record. Some people don't like to write, so take your recorder. We all have a recorder on our phone, and just record. Today I feel that. Oh, today I'm so happy I'm doing that. Or today this happened, and I try to understand. And if you're courageous enough, because at the beginning for me it was hard to do that. It was hard to read back what I was writing. I write things since I'm 10 years old, and I started to read what I was writing. I was 28 and I'm 33. For you to know. So I started some years ago to read back what I'm writing, because sometimes you don't want to read what you wrote, because you read it or you laugh and you're just like, why did I wrote that? Or you just read it and you're just like, oh my God, I was feeling that. And then it puts you in these emotions, okay? And a little tips here, know that your brain doesn't know the difference between the past, the present, and the future. So when you think something, your brain believes is now. So when you think about something bad, know that your brain is like, it's happening now. It doesn't know it was before. Even if you're thinking like it was before, everything's happening. The alchemy that is happening into your brain, for your brain, is now. Is not yesterday, is not tomorrow, is now. So you understand why sometimes reading things that are hard can be hard for your brain, because you're gonna feel everything. But if you're taking this time, and if you have to feel it, nothing happened for a coincidence. It means that you had to feel this emotion, okay? So record yourself. You can listen to yourself after. To listen to yourself is hard as well. And sometimes you don't want to hear that. And hearing your voice, or you're looking to yourself in the video, is hard, but it's a great, great therapy. Because it's something where you face yourself. And facing yourself is embracing everything you are. So it's bringing yourself to being more and more authentic. Okay? So this is the thing. And the last therapy I can advise you, and I advise this to everybody, is working with your inner child. Okay? Your inner child. This child, so we all have a child inside of us. The one that opened my eyes every day is the little girl of 3 years and a half. So I work with her. So how did I do that? There are therapists that have put me through this path to really like work with my inner child. And from the moment I started to work with her, it was 10 years ago, I always talk with her. So when I'm afraid, and when we are afraid, there is in all of us a little child that remembers something from his past, okay? And this little child, you have to take care of it. You have to talk with it. So there are techniques. This part is more something I can accompany you but through a therapy if you want, with hypnosis. So I can do that. So if you want to work about the inner child, please contact me by message. It will be a pleasure for me. I love to do that because once you connect to your inner child, oh my God, you see this smile I'm having is her. So so you will see. I think we like check a little bit about everything, like the the different traits that a highly sensitive person has. So an HSP, we take it, I'm gonna just summarize it. So sensuality with synaesthesia, highly emotional intelligence, detail and authentic orientated, intuition, your intuition, really important, listen to your intuition. And also the tools we talk is like, take care of your environment and the people around you. You have to have benevolent people around you that understands how you function and accept you as you are. Say how you function. So communication, guys, is so important. And girls. And also, we have writing and recording yourself when you feel something, whatever you feel, positive, negative, record yourself, write about it. And if you have any other question about how to do that and techniques, please contact me on by message as well. And we have as well working with the inner child, that this is a brief therapy, but is an interesting one, which I can accompany you through that. So these are the tools. To finish, I have some references that could be interesting for you. For the UK, we have Vintage non-profit organization for the UK, quite an interesting. I'm just having after an interview with them at 11, so in 3 hours. Now, yeah, 3 hours. So Vintage is a great non-profit organization. We have also in France Association des Hypersensibles, so the non-profit organization for HSP. Also, you can look about Daniel Goleman. It's a professor from Massachusetts. I always have problems saying this word, Massachusetts. So he's talking about emotional and social intelligence. So I advise you and check some also studies about the Boston Trauma University. So I think I gave you as much information as I could. Thank you for all of you for taking this time to listen to it. I hope it helps you. Don't hesitate if you have any questions to come to me. I will always be happy to answer to them. You can find me as well on my Facebook page, Diaphora Evasio, here, of course. I also have a podcast named Diaphora Evasio, the Prism of Authenticity, not the prison. I pronounce it with my accent, the Prism. Prism, so the Prism of Authenticity. So this is a podcast I'm having, and also you can follow me on YouTube. I'm doing some videos really shorter than this, like 4 minutes. So that's it. Thank you for listening. Bye bye for another live. Next time is gonna be highly sensitive people in the workplace. Some tips and which kind of environment are good for you. Bye, and I will say I wish you a great day. Highly sensitively. Bye bye.